I lost her twin sister at birth, unfortunately, Chloe. We were taken to a room, just the two of us, and told that there was nothing else that they could do for her. You don't just grieve losing a child, you're grieving what should have been.
Hello and welcome to A Normal Family, a podcast collecting and retelling true family stories with lessons for us all. My guest this week is Jo. Jo suddenly lost her daughter Ruby, aged just 17. It started as a normal Thursday morning and ended with Jo and her husband leaving the hospital with just a folder of handprints and lots of her daughter's hair. Jo revisits that day and talks about the differences between how her and her husband Nev have grieved. And she shares the many beautiful ways they have sought to commemorate Ruby's life. Please note that this week's episode deals with the loss of a child, including miscarriage, so please listen with self-care if you've been affected by any of the issues. Let's get started. Good afternoon, Jo.
I am.
Hello, thank you. Welcome to Normal Family and thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I like to start by asking my guests where in the world they are. So where are you this afternoon?
I am sat in my house in Stroud, in Gloucestershire.
Lovely. And we met at my sister's wedding where I was the celebrant.
Yeah,
A month
wonderful
ago
day
now.
that was.
Wasn't it? I don't think Minnie and George are the only people that wish that they were back there now.
No, not at all.
And I was really touched that you got in contact with me and offered to talk about the sudden death of your daughter Ruby, which we'll come on to shortly. But just before we come to what happened 18 months ago, can you paint a picture for what home life is like for you?
So home life for me is Nev and I have now been married 16 years. Nev has 3 children. Hannah, Toby and Bex. So I have 3 stepchildren, all grown up. And then we had Ruby, she was 17 when she passed away. So she would be it's coming up to 19 now. No, she would be 19. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
So yeah, and then we have 2 dogs, which are my babies, and we also have a grandson. So Nev's eldest daughter Hannah has little Reuben. So yeah, quite a big family. Definitely a blended family, but yeah, we are all quite close.
Lovely. And tell me about Ruby. What was she like?
So Ruby, she was just perfect. I did question she was my daughter sometimes. She was at Hartbury College studying sports and exercise science. She wanted to be a chiropractor.
Okay.
So she was also in the netball academy there. She was a massive netball fan. And during COVID, we had to buy her numerous things so she could just practice netball for hours.
What position did she play?
She was actually very versatile. Her preference was goal shooter, but she would also play goalkeeper. Yeah, but she loved netball. She was also a massive rugby follower as well. Her boyfriend played rugby for Hartbury, so she would spend most weekends in the rain, like it is today, watching him play rugby.
A dedicated fan.
Yes, definitely.
And what was your relationship like? I think you travelled a fair bit together.
Yeah, we did. We were very close, actually. Sometimes that meant that we would clash because we were too close and too alike. Typical mother and daughter sort of thing. But yeah, our relationship was very close up until the end. If I said we were going on holiday, she would be, I'm coming with you.
Okay.
There was no, I'm staying. I think there was a couple of times we left her at home to do a couple of trips to Mallorca with the grown-ups, and she used to send me videos that she was very upset that she wasn't there.
I obviously never met Ruby, but people that did know her tell me how sweet she was.
Yeah, she was. She was a very sweet girl. She would be friends with everyone. As you know, she was very friendly with Orla. She would sit on a lilo, float round the pool with Orla. They wouldn't talk. They would do it in silence, but they just had this little bond that was lovely.
Beautiful, yeah. And for those who don't know, Orla's my eldest niece and water baby in Mallorca.
Her and Ruby were very alike, like that. When
Okay.
Ruby was her age, she was a water baby. She
Okay.
just loved loved.
And I get the impression she was very sporty.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Anything she put her mind to, she would try and achieve.
fantastic. And I guess it's all contributed to what must have been an even greater shock for you. But do you just want to take us back to what happened on what started as an ordinary Thursday morning?
Yeah, so if I take myself back on the
Mm.
Wednesday, so she played netball for Heartbreak. She went to work at the chiropractor's where she worked on reception. She came home and she went to bed, and she hadn't been feeling very well for the week, sort of a bit of a cold.
Mhm.
And she went to bed. And when she woke up in the morning on Thursday, she actually told me and Nev that she felt better than she had done in days.
Okay.
She mentioned to me I didn't have any orange juice in the fridge for her to take her iron tablets, which I said to her I'd go and get. And then she sat down to put her trainers on and just started breathing funny. We at first thought she might be having an asthma attack because she did suffer only mildly from asthma. But literally within minutes, I something in me was, "This isn't normal." So I phoned 999. The lady stayed on the phone with me the whole time, and they sent an ambulance out. It arrived within 15 minutes, I think, but in that 15 minutes, she deteriorated quite a lot. She was getting very hot. She couldn't get comfortable. And then, yeah, as soon as the paramedics arrived, they pulled her on the floor and had to do CPR on her. And at this point, I went to the garden. But while I was in the garden, I heard a noise overhead. And the next thing we knew, we had air ambulance arriving as well.
Okay.
So we had two ambulances, a doctor arrive, and air ambulance, who were absolutely every single one of them that arrived were just absolutely just amazing. I can't thank any of them enough, really.
But how did that must have felt very difficult to see
Yeah, it did.
an air ambulance.
I was actually on the phone to Theo, her boyfriend's mum, because she's a nurse. So my natural instinct was to phone her because I thought
Yeah,
she's going to tell me what's going on, because I
yeah.
couldn't be in the room. And when I told her air ambulance were landing in field in front of our house, she reassured me, "Joe, you are going to have the best medical care in your front room that you could ever wish for." She said it is like having theatre, everything in your front room.
Yeah,
So that did reassure me to have someone to speak to that knew what was going on, because your natural instinct is to just panic.
yeah. And of course you want the actual paramedics to be there
Yeah.
supporting Ruby, not
Yeah.
giving you
Yeah.
updates, even though that's
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely what you
That's
crave in that
why
moment.
I ended up as a mum getting out of the way, because I
Yeah,
thought I'm going to probably cause them more problems, because I'm going to be, "What's going on? What are you doing? Why are you doing this?"
yeah.
But Nev stayed with her the whole time. So
Mhm, mhm. Okay, so they try and treat her in the house,
yeah.
and then they take her in the air ambulance to the local hospital, is that right?
No, they didn't take her in the air ambulance. They put her into an induced
Mhm.
coma outside our house, and then they took her by ambulance. So I travelled in the ambulance with her.
Okay,
They couldn't take her by air ambulance because her heart kept stopping, and they said if they needed to treat her, they can't actually do that in the air ambulance, whereas in a an ambulance, they can pull over to the side of the road,
I
so it's
see.
stable and still for them to be able to treat her. Um, you know, Luckily we didn't stop, because that was one thing that panicked me the whole ambulance journey was, if we pull over, my personal feeling was my heart was gonna stop at the same time.
Apart from just hoping that that ambulance didn't stop on the way to the hospital, how are you feeling at that point?
Actually, the paramedic that was in the front with me, he was absolutely amazing. He put my mind at rest the whole time. He was very clever, really, because he was showing me how stuff in the ambulance worked. He also told me about why we were going to Southmead, because he said at Southmead they can get a team together to treat Ruby within 5 minutes. So yeah, I'll be forever grateful for him, really, because he kept me quite calm and level all the way. It was long enough waiting for the paramedics to arrive in 15 minutes, but then to do the journey was quite a long time.
It makes me feel quite emotional just thinking about that. him doing that day in, day out, just being a
Yeah,
welcome
we
distraction.
contacted them all afterwards to thank them, and we met with the air ambulance crew as well afterwards to thank them.
Of course, of course. So they take you to the best hospital that,
Yeah,
they can with the specialists that are
yeah.
most available, and what happens next?
So then I was taken to a room, and the family was following on behind. Then it was probably about half an hour before we heard anything. They found that she had a blood clot on her brain. And unfortunately, this blood clot had caused her to have a stroke,
Okay.
which is what happened at our house, which was why her heart kept stopping. So the first procedure they did was to try and disperse the blood clot on her lungs, and they then did a procedure to disperse the blood clot on her brain. They then brought her to the ICU unit, which, despite looking after her for a few hours, they then told us that the procedure hadn't worked and there
Mhm.
was one other procedure they could do. So they removed part of her skull away to relieve the pressure that was happening in her brain. There was no guarantees, etc. But I sort of said, she's 17 years of age. I want you to do everything you
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
That procedure took quite a while. It was quite an in-depth procedure. So me, Nev, and Nev's children went off walking around Bristol trying to just do
Pass the
something rather
time.
than being sat in a room. Unfortunately, the pressure from her brain, they just couldn't bring it down. And then unfortunately, we were taken to a room, just um, the two of us, and told that there was nothing else that they could do for her. Probably the hardest words you can ever hear. Unfortunately, Ruby's going to die. Um, and we had to take the decision to turn her machines off. So my brother was traveling from Gloucester. He got caught in traffic, unfortunately, typical M5. But the hospital were amazing. They said they wouldn't turn the machines off till everyone had seen her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they waited, and she passed away very, very peacefully.
Right.
Um, they assured me that she wouldn't have felt anything from the moment that we left our house in the morning.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Sorry,
unfortunately, I
Joe.
think, yeah, she left us that morning, but I'm very grateful they got her to hospital and did everything they could. And
Of
from the
course.
first person that turned up at our house to the last person that dealt with her in hospital, the lovely girl in ICU, obviously, because she'd had the procedure on her brain, she had a bandage around, but the lady took that off, plaited her hair. So she said she will look
Felt
like
more like
your,
Ruby.
yeah, she'll look like your Ruby. Yeah, from the first person that turned up to the last person that dealt with her in hospital, I can't thank any of them enough. They were fantastic.
So you've been in that's hell
Yep.
for what, sort of 24 hours or more from home to the hospital? And so then what happens when you and Nev and your stepchildren leave the
So
hospital?
the hospital were good in a sense. They did hand and footprints for me, and they gave me some locks of her hair, but that was just in a folder. It was a very, very lonely, strange time to arrive at hospital with your daughter and to leave with not a lot really. It was, yeah. There's nothing else they could have done, but it doesn't make it
There's a
feel
very obvious
any,
absence.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very obvious straight
And
away.
did you go home? Because I know other people who have had trauma in their
Um
homes, that's a very difficult thing to have to deal with straight away.
No. So from the hospital, myself and Nev went to my mum's, and I couldn't go home. I went to my mum's, and I think we stayed there for 2.5 weeks in the end.
Yeah,
But yeah, we went back slowly. Going in the front room was probably the most difficult thing to do. And when your front
understandable.
room is your safe
Safe
haven,
space.
yeah, it was a very difficult time. We did choose to move 6 months later. There wasn't a big family connection with the property. And then after what happened, well, because we had a big green in front of us that people walk through, I'm sure they weren't, but I felt like everyone was looking at me like, that's the lady that lost her daughter. That's the
Right,
house that the air ambulance went to.
right.
So yeah, I was very grateful that mum let us stay for 2.5 weeks while I came to terms with what it was going to feel like in the house.
Without her, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know again for a lot of people that experience grief, all the normal stuff like sleep and eating and taking care of yourself goes out the window, so it's good that you had your mum there.
Yes. Yeah. Um, yeah. Eating definitely goes out the window. You just don't feel like you can. Sleep
Yeah.
does as well. With me, my sleep pattern changed. I was almost like a zombie in the day sleeping, and then at night, wide awake, absolutely wide awake, almost feeling like I could see things and
Yeah.
yeah, it was lonely at night, whereas in the
Yeah.
day people would want to come and visit you or contact you.
And you've talked about how, your mum and some of your other family members supported you, but you were also supported by a charity called To Wish. Do you want to say a little bit
Yes.
about them as well?
Yeah. So about 48 hours after Ruby passed away, a friend of mine, Louise, who I actually went to school with, but she moved to Wales and she contacted me after 48 hours and she said, I'd like to put you in touch with a charity called To Wish. At the time, I was very, who are they? What are they? Never heard of them. So they were a Welsh based charity set up by a lady called Rianne, and Rianne lost her son. And because her husband couldn't cope with the loss and the investigations afterwards, her husband took his own life.
Oh,
So
poor
she
woman.
she vowed to set up a charity to make sure no one left hospital if you lose a child under the age of 25 unsupported,
Mm.
to go through what she went through. Anyway, I agreed, and within a week, a lovely lady called Rachel, our immediate support, turned up at the house, and she was just amazing. She would come round every week. She helped us with minor things like funeral planning. If you don't
Practical
really
things.
want to think about, she helped us long term as well with, because we had a post mortem done on Ruby to find out why she had blood clots. But unfortunately, there's only 3 pediatric pathologists in the UK. So it took 18 months. She took everything off our hands. So she would phone the hospital for updates. They offer therapy to friends and family close to Ruby. So Ruby's boyfriend had therapy before he went back to uni. Nev's children, I know 2 of them have had therapy, but different therapies. So a couple of them have had talking therapies.
Mhm.
I believe Toby had massages to help relax him with to help with his sleep. But yeah, two Wish have been amazing. They are becoming more well known, but I honestly, if you leave hospital in the situation we did, to have a charity like that there ready is amazing.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Like you said, both the practical support and the care that an outsider can offer sometimes because 'cause they're not
Yeah.
involved in that themselves. I just wanna pick up on the point about therapy, and I wonder how you looked after yourself and if you had any particular therapy that was helpful.
No, well, I've only just started some therapy through to Wish now, and that's actually because my sleep has digressed again. So I'm actually having reflexology done at the moment, which is helping.
Mhm.
As for therapy and talking about it, I still don't think I'm ready. But actually, the visits from Rachel, I felt like I had a counsellor sat on my
Yeah.
sofa. Nev, my husband, has had some therapy through To Wish for PTSD actually, because he was in the room with her the whole time.
Yeah.
He saw everything they did, because some procedures were really quite invasive. So he's actually had to have therapy for that.
Mm. And obviously you can't speak for him, but I wonder if you've noticed any difference in the way that the 2 of you have grieved the loss.
Yeah, probably not the stereotypical grieving for a husband and wife. He's very open, very loving. He will always cuddle everyone, give everyone a kiss. He will talk. Whereas I'm completely the opposite. I'm actually the one that won't talk, holds it all in. Um, and we've had to tackle that. And Rachel, our support from To Wish, was amazing with that, because she said to us, "You two are polar opposites, but actually that's really good for you." So yeah, I think we did complement each other in that way. But our grieving path was very different. It can be tough at times, but I actually think it's made us closer than ever. Yeah,
Right.
definitely. And especially with his children, early days, it wasn't an amazing relationship, but we had a relationship and we've got closer over the years. But since Ruby's gone, they've been an amazing support to both me and Nev and to each other, which is, really, really good.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And a reminder that blended family can feel just like family.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And I've spoken, unfortunately, to a few people for whom loss and grief is a part of their family story. And one thing that comes up quite often is how they've tried to turn their pain into some sort of purpose, trying to find meaning in the loss that they've had. I wonder if that resonates with you and Nev.
Mm. Yeah, a bit like I just said with his motto, living for today with one eye on the future. We literally try and do each day for her.
Wow.
Um, we're trying to set goals to achieve things that she wanted to do. She loved her netball, absolutely loved it, and she kept saying to me, As soon as I finish uni, Mum, I'm going to Australia." So, a big thing for us is we do plan to go to Australia, and I'm going to take part of her with us, some of her ashes, and scatter her out there because that's
Oh,
that's what she wanted to do. But yeah, we literally try and live for her. We sponsor a player at Hartbury Rugby. They play in the championship. He's only young himself, Josh, but he used to teach her practical. And he played netball with her the day before she passed away. And he was devastated after it. So we chose to sponsor him in her memory. We're trying to turn our grief into positive things. We've done
yeah.
lots of things raising money for charity as well. And that
Great.
helps a lot to
And I
think that we can try and support others getting the support we had.
exactly, exactly. With Two Wish and in particular.
Yeah,
Or,
we've done Two Wish, and her friends also raised 13,500 for Great Western Air Ambulance. They walked 18 miles on her 18th birthday.
oh,
So so we've
fantastic.
done Great Western Air Ambulance and a lot for Two Wish as well. Yeah.
And I think you've had some other beautiful ways to commemorate her. I saw the Beautiful Remembrance book, um,
Yes.
which you did as a Google Doc, which I've never seen before, but I think that's a great
So,
idea.
it wasn't actually me that did it. So Theo's dad is very tech-minded, and I think in the early days, to help us, he just went, "I'm gonna set this up."
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say there were 2 other things that I saw that you'd done as well. One was that you'd had a ring made with some of her ashes in it, and that you've also got
yeah,
your
I'm
first
not sure if you
tattoo.
can see it very clearly.
Yeah.
It's there. So it's a
Is
purple
that a little
heart.
heart? Yeah.
Yeah, because purple was her favourite colour. And I had some ashes put in it, and Nev had one, and all of Nev's children, we had a necklace made for them. So Toby had like a dog tag with it in, so it was boyish
Right.
and manly, and then the girls had a purple heart. So yeah, I think it's a lovely way to know that they're always with you.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And your tattoos too.
Oh,
First tattoo.
yes. So I'm trying to
Yeah, there it
get it
is.
up. So Ruby. So um, don't think we've touched on, but so Ruby was an identical twin. I lost her twin sister at birth, unfortunately, Chloe. And Ruby's plan for her 18th was to have a tattoo done.
Okay.
And she was going to have a rose, it is their birth month's flower, with Chloe on the stem. So as soon as she passed away, literally, and I hate needles, I hate pain, anything like that. 2 weeks after she passed away, Nev was like, "You're rushing into this." And I was like, "No, I've got to do it." And I went and had what she was going to have done, but with her name in it.
Beautiful.
But
And nothing in
unfortunately,
comparison to the pain that you'd gone through in the 2 weeks
no,
before.
no, no. And she, again, I feel like she's there, and it was
Yeah.
something she wanted to do. So I had to do it. I had to put my big girl pants on and go and have it done. And it was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was. So I have had a few more.
I was gonna say, and now you're one of those people that, got addicted
Yeah,
or
they're all very, very sly ones. So I had another one. I'm going to see it there. So it's
yeah,
the infinity sign with Ruby and Chloe on it. And then I
yeah.
have one on my chest because
Oh,
she always
yeah.
used to say, I love you to the moon and back. So that's my, yeah,
Reminder.
yeah. So they're all very meaningful and they're all quite small. And then Nev had his first a few months ago, and she always used to leave notes on his desk, post-it notes. I think it must have been a day when me and him had had a little bit of a row or something. So she left him a note saying, "Ruby loves you," and a heart. So he had that tattooed on his arm. So it's her writing and her note. So yeah,
Amazing. And they all sound like things that would have made her smile if it
yeah.
came down to
She would
what
have
you did.
smiled at me going to have it done and literally crying when I'm panicking, thinking what was it going to feel like. And Nev was a bit like that with his first, so she would have been smiling at that too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned it, Joe, and if you don't mind, I've got a follow-up question about her twin sister. That's
Yeah.
obviously a tragic loss to have gone through, 17 years before. How do you think your grief then differed to your grief with Roby?
It was probably very different then because they were identical twins and they suffered from something called twin to twin transfusion. And I found out at a scan that unfortunately Chloe had passed away. She was actually the bigger twin. So I chose to have steroid injections to help Ruby because this was at 31 weeks.
Still
So they were
fairly early.
9 weeks early, yeah. So, however, I had one of the steroid injections and then went into natural labour. When they were born, they were £3.5 and £3.2. Yeah.
Wow.
So with the grieving of Chloe, you know, they took Ruby straight off to special care. We didn't even get to see her. It was like she'd gone. They took a photo though of her and brought it to me. And I then got to spend time with Chloe. We had the church the hospital chaplain came and christened her. So dealing with her grief was very different, I think, because I had Ruby in special care and my focus had to be on that. However, I think the grief with Chloe, because I didn't deal with it straight away, throughout later years, I did suffer. I suppose every time I saw Ruby, I thought there should be two of them. They should look exactly the same. And they always say that twins have a connection, and Ruby really, sometimes she would say to me she felt like part of her was missing, and that was as young as 6 or 7. So it was very
And she always
different.
grew
Yeah.
up knowing what had happened.
Yes, yeah. She always knew she had a sister. She knew it all. Because at Christmas we would always do something. We'd light a candle, or
Yeah,
on her birthday we would always do something, because I knew I had to celebrate my daughter, but also it's the day I lost a daughter too.
of
So
course.
it was a very difficult day, but that's why we'd always make sure we do something for Chloe and then we go, right, it's Ruby's birthday now, celebrate the rest of the day. Some people will say, Chloe passed away at birth, so I didn't really know her, but I carried her. I knew her in Ruby. But then with Ruby, I had 17 wonderful years with her.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
You don't just grieve losing a child, you're grieving what should have been. I'll
Yeah,
never see her
yeah,
get married. I'll never see her do uni. That's probably the most difficult thing in
yeah,
grief. It can make you feel guilty, very guilty.
yeah. We lost a future as well as the.
Yes, yeah, as well as remembering what happened in the past.
Mhm,
Losing someone so young is, like you said, it's the loss of a future and everything she could have achieved.
mhm, mhm. If someone was struggling with loss right now, what advice would you give them?
Take each day as it comes. Grief is different for everyone and everyone deals with it differently, but you literally have to wake up each day and just tackle what's in front of you. It can be lonely at times, grief, but then also it can be overwhelming, the amount of people that want to put their arms around you. It's probably one of the most difficult things I've ever had to deal with in
Uh,
life, knowing when to accept help, when to refuse help, but not refuse it in a bad way, but to say, actually, you need some time for you.
okay.
Um, and take every bit of support you can, as in I had friends that were cooking meals for us, for example, simple things like that. Friends that would be like, do you want anything? And I'm like, no, but I can't face going to the shop. And they'd be like, right, do you want me to bring you some milk round? And it's very, very small things. So listen to yourself, listen to your body. If you're tired, go to sleep. If you're not, we found walking quite a big thing after Ruby
Okay.
passed away. Just being out in the open. We're quite lucky in Stroud where we live. We have lots of open spaces. And sometimes we'd meet with Nev's kids and we'd just go walking. No one would talk. We would just walk with the dogs.
Yeah. Get the body moving out in nature.
Yes. Yeah. Taking time for yourself is the most important thing.
Fantastic. And we're coming to the end, but I can see Ruby looking over your shoulder there.
Yeah, I can't really find a place where she isn't looking over my
Rightly
shoulder.
so. But I just wonder if you could share what your happiest memory is with her.
We've done lots of amazing things with her, but my happiest memory was seeing her face the day she found out she'd been accepted into all 4 universities to become a chiropractor. She was just so over the moon, and again, it's going back to grieving the future. She knew what she hoped was coming in her future, and
Yeah.
it was what she wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is probably my happiest.
You must have been very proud when she had those offers.
Oh, seeing her face, knowing what was in her future. Yeah,
Bless her.
it made me proud that she
Heartbreaking.
was proud of herself for once. So
Amazing.
yeah. So
Does it ever get easier to share your story?
no, I don't think so, but I like sharing it. If I'm sharing it, I feel like her memory's still alive. You know, it's a bit like having the post-mortem done. You know, some people said to us, you didn't have to have it done. You know why she passed away. And I said, we know she had a blood clot on her brain and she had a stroke, but why did a fit and healthy 17-year-old have the blood clot?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, why did it travel to her brain? But one of the main reasons we chose to have the post-mortem done was because she wanted to be a chiropractor. She wanted to help people get better. And I said, if the results from that can help one person, then, you know, that
It'd have been worth it.
it was worth it. So yeah, I'll just live each day to keep her memory alive. And yeah,
Again, it makes
my
me
motto.
grateful for you to come and share it with me. Again, it's 18 months, but that's still relatively recently, really, in terms
Yes.
of
Yeah, it
overcoming
is.
a
It
heartbreak.
still feels like yesterday,
Yeah.
but then it does feel like you know, it's been ages since I've seen her, but yeah, it still feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
I can recall it like it was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure some of those images are gonna live with you, unfortunately. So the last question that I just wanted to ask you was related to the project more broadly, and I wondered, what does a normal family mean to you?
Love, probably. Love. A normal family for me is just a blended family. My parents split up when I was young, so I was from a blended family. You know, Nev and I have come together and created a blended family. And I just think as long as you have love in a family, then that family unit will always be strong. It doesn't matter, you know, if you're blended, not blended, love and just being strong together.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think that it's not about structures, it's not even about
No,
whether you're blood
no,
related.
yes. Yeah. No,
No.
definitely. I have many aunties that aren't aunties, as I'm sure you do too.
Yeah,
um yeah, a family is just about being happy, loving each other and sharing life.
being there for one another.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Well, I'm glad that we managed to end on that heartwarming note. But genuinely, Joe, thank you for taking the time
That's
to
okay.
talk to me and to open up. And yeah, I kind of love to see how you continue to commemorate Ruby's memory and
Oh yeah,
with
we will
support.
do, and I'm sure you'll see more of it.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Joe.
All right, thank you.
Thank you to this week's guest for sharing their story and to you for listening. Check out our show notes for more information on this topic, and please keep watching for more unfiltered families. And don't forget that you can get in touch if you think that you have a story to share.